E- Excuse me. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. I'm your regular host for Connect with Comfort Show. My name is Comfort Iyitayo. On this program, we aim to add value to people on business, enterprise, and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature guests who are subject matter experts that helps us to shed more insight into the topic of the day. I am glad that you are able to join us today and I welcome you warmly. Today's topic is not only timely but crucial for the future of our economy, and that is harnessing digital payment systems in a cash-strapped economy, as we are witnessing now. As we navigate through these challenging economic times, which is also compounded with limited access to cash and other traditional financial resources we were used to. So the need for us to explore innovation or innovative solutions has become more pressing. Digital payment system offers us a ray of hope on this area as transformative tool that has the potential to redefine how we conduct our businesses, manage our finances, and ultimately how we as a society can thrive. In a world where economic pressures are mounting, leveraging on digital payment systems can provide the efficiency, transparency, and inclusivity that our economy desperately needs. These systems are not just about moving money, they are about creating opportunities, fostering financial inclusion, and driving sustainable economic growth. Today, we'll be looking into how embracing these technologies can help us to mitigate the challenges of cash-strapped economy and how they can be effectively harnessed to empower businesses, support individuals, and strengthen our overall economic resilience. These and many more we shall be exploring with our guest who is already seated in the house, waiting for us to bring her in after this short break. Please remain connected. We'll be right back. Thank you. Thank you. You are welcome back. Our guest is already with us in the house, as I said earlier, and she's not a stranger to us on this show. She has obliged us in the past and she's still obliging us now. And I hope in the future she'll continue to oblige us. So, our special guest for today's show is none other than Damilola Ojo. Damilola is an executive director, TCK Zone. She is an IT specialist and a business leader. And that makes her the right person to be looking at this for us. Damilola, you are welcome once again to Connect with Comfort Show. We thank you for obliging us yet again. You are most
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Now, looking at this very important topic, let's take it from the economic impact and the relevance to us, both as individual and business or business owners, to help us to understand the difference of what we're talking about from what we used to know. I would ask this question: how do digital payment systems compare to traditional cash-based systems in terms of cost efficiency and economic resilience?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. So I'm just going to start with this. So in terms of digital payment system, so it's important that everybody knows, especially in this time and age, especially in this world of technology, right? That digital payment systems outshines traditional cash-based systems a lot, right? There are a lot of advantages one would get, especially as a business, right? So we're taking this or looking at this from the business angle, right? So in terms of digital payment system, it helps reduce transactional cost, right? Whereby, people have to go to the bank, withdraw money before they can then come pay you for your service, right? If you have systems in place whereby they can easily either make a transfer or use the the POS machine to make their payment, right? Those transactional costs will be reduced. And also when it comes to transparency, right? Digital payment systems helps your business in such a way that you know how much is coming in at every point in time, almost real time, right? For instance, you might not be in the store or in the office that particular day, but you can track every payment coming in. And once this happens, it helps to minimize the risks of thefts, right? We all have a lot of business owners complaining, oh, my people are always stealing my money. I don't know, they made social sale, but they can't document for it. So all of those things will be reduced. And in terms of the economic aspect, right, it helps the economy in general because data is, like I said, data is life. And by providing real-time data as to what each business is making, right? It helps even you as a business make a lot of informed decisions. And it also helps the government make better decisions, even when these economic times are like unstable. Yes.
Thank you very much. So it's better, it outshines the traditional method. I'm sure that is clear to all. The ease with which we transact business today, apart from the aspect you just point out, which is true, that it limits the opportunity of privileges, because you can design a system that until I receive the cash or alert, my goods should not go to customer A or customer B. Instead, somebody in the shop will say, "Oh, you promised to pay or gave us a check that eventually bounced." So this is a real time. So that's true. So how can digital payment system alleviate the challenges faced by economies with limited cash flow?
Okay, so in systems or in economies with limited cash flow, especially like Nigeria as a whole now, digital payment systems helped with injecting liquidity into the economy, right, by facilitating seamless transactions. So one thing that having a lot of physical cash in the open or in the market, right, does is that it increases like inflation with money like going around, right? It increases inflation. So what the digital payment systems does, it helps business to continue operations even when like there are cash constraints. So for instance, the other time where there was a change in currency and people could not withdraw past a certain amount of money, a lot of businesses suffered, businesses especially that didn't have like a digital payment model, right? Because they're like, hey, oh, we can't get enough cash to pay for your service. So unless you can transfer to you, or unless there are other payment systems, we will not be able to buy from you or use your service. So every business should actually have a sort of system so that they can keep operations even when there is a cash constraint in the economy, and that way the economy engine would keep running smoothly and no business would be left out of place.
Thank you very much. I guess that can also be seen in the light of potential economic benefits of adopting this digital payment, because the business is ongoing. There's no stoppage because of cash flow and
Yes.
being cash strapped. So that's a good one. Now, when we look at infrastructure and accessibility, what role would you say mobile payment platform play in enhancing financial inclusion in cash strapped economy?
Okay. In in terms of how mobile payments platforms, like what role do they play? Um, they demonstrate some sort of, let's say, financial um, accessibility, right? So we have a lot of, let's say, platforms that work on the laptop or like other devices, but now we're talking about like the mobile payment platform, because majority of people, or let me say a lot of people, right, have a mobile phone at least, right? It might not be a smartphone, but even if they have the other one, right, that's the feature phone, they still have a mobile phone. So if there are different services, for instance, the star something 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 that you can easily dial on your phone to access financial services, it actually helps even those in the rural areas, those who are unbanked. It helps them to facilitate payments in their different areas, right? So if they want to save, if they want to credit or pay for something, if they want to invest, right? These mobile payment platforms actually help include all those people that have been excluded, right, from let's say the financial system. It helps include them even better.
Thank you very much. One example readily comes to mind when we are talking of this mobile payment platform that helps business to continuity of business and sustainability of the same. Just last week, I was trying to get something. You know, while you are in the traffic in Lagos, you can. Somebody said you can virtually you can buy virtually buy anything. Some say you can even cook because they sell stove and pepper and meat. So, but what I want to bring out as a really good example of what you said here is that I wanted to buy something. You know, yes, you can transfer, but when you are in traffic and it's a moving traffic, the transfer may not go quickly, the network glitch and everything. And I just saw that they are already moving in front. And I told the guy, look, let it be another time because this light is going to catch up on us and we have to move. Oh, he said no problem. He was running after my car. I was saying, what's wrong with this guy? I'm not going to just transfer money, take your goods, and then like I'm trying to swindle you. He said, but I'm just continuing with the traffic. We will do the transaction. And lo and behold, he just beckoned on someone, and this guy came. I saw somebody on a bike almost trying to brush my car, and I was saying, what's wrong with you? And he said, POS. POS on the back bicycle. I was freaked out. But it's very, very interesting. And I said, oh my God, Nigerians with ingenuity. That's kind of innovation. That,
Yes.
yes, there are POS operators sitting by dotted here and there, but you are in a moving traffic. You're not going to stop or park your car to patronize them, and the transfer
Yeah.
may not go quickly. So that transaction would have been aborted. But lo and behold, this guy came on bicycle, said, just continue with the traffic, madam, I will follow you. And he got my card, and I was at the corner of my eye looking at him so that he doesn't take my card away. And he was doing the transaction. We were able to conclude the transaction even before it was my turn
Like,
to move away. So I just couldn't get over that. I said, wow, Nigeria. It's just that I pray we get it right in this country. We have a lot of resources, both financial and human, for people to think out that. So that is one thing mobile payment platform has done for us. It has kind of helped us to operate efficiently, and the stoppage that you would have suffered in transacting transaction would have also been overcome. So I just thought I should give that example.
yes, that's
Even
good.
though the rural people, go ahead.
I think that's a very, very good example. And yes.
Even in rural area, like you said, they will not have maybe the phone that will enable. They see somehow they still do businesses. You just tell them, they call you from village and say, oh, you can transfer to so person, and they are assured of getting the money. So that's another example. So in light of this, what infrastructure do you think is necessary to ensure the widespread adoption of digital payment system in underdeveloped regions? Because it's not everywhere that is as developed as Lagos and maybe major cities like Port Harcourt or the north.
Yes, yes, that is very, very true. So one thing that is like really necessary is, I would say, reliable internet access or even mobile connectivity in general, right? Okay, can I do dial my USSD code and it will go smoothly wherever I am? Even if I don't have internet, yeah, reliable internet is important, right? But even if I don't have internet where I am, is the mobile network going smoothly as it should? Then affordable devices, because right now I don't think you can necessarily get any phone that is lower than like 50,000 naira um as at now, right? What there should be provision of these accessible or affordable devices in like different underdeveloped regions. And I think more of these financial institutions should have local agents, should have more local agents in these places. I know they're trying their best, but I think they can do more. We have an influx of POS people. There's so much in Lagos, and not enough in places that actually need them. So let's have more people like that in the underdeveloped regions, in the villages, in the local communities, right? There should be initiatives or support programs that can come up and say, okay, in different local regions, we're going to be equipping, oh, 2 people, 5 people with so and so thing, right? That can enable people within this community to get access to these digital payment systems that we're talking about. Right? I think once we start from that gradually, we would get to a point where everybody has now adopted the digital payment system, but it has to start at some point.
Thank you very much. You are very right, but with businesses, you need to balance the economic sentiment as well. The people are more in Lagos because there's a lot of transaction going on from which they can make their own mark. If you have to relocate a POS operator to a rural area that maybe once or twice in a day you get customer, what are you going to do on? So, but beyond that, since we are talking of infrastructure, I think maybe the operators also need to look, not those operating POS. I mean, like the telecom people need to think out of the box with the peculiarity that we have, for instance, in our own client, that some places do not have lights days on end. And if you do not have lights, even if your children manage to buy you phone and you are not able to charge that phone, to make it work will be almost impossible. So maybe they have to start thinking out of the box. How are they going to have some equipment or infrastructure that will cater for rural area? I think it's high time to start thinking of that, because there was a time when um, this light issue became daunting. People are
Mm.
getting around it. There's one they call OGT NEPA. The first time I heard that terms, I was I was so amazed. And then the reason why it is like that is because they have this rechargeable kind of thing that they're using. So in similar vein, what I'm trying to say, apart from the gadget itself, what makes it going, and you touched on one important area, which is the internet. Even we in the city suffer it a lot. Talk less of the areas that perhaps it's not a normal day thing, normal routine for them. So how best can this system work in areas such as that? So those two key areas, I believe, in terms of infrastructure, that the people in the technology people have to think and they reason beyond the usual to find a way of inclusivity, to find a way of making an as a workable platform for people in the rural area. I think that will help more.
That would help
Now,
more.
yeah. Now we talked of economic aspects, infrastructural aspects. There's also the concerning area of security and trust. Security and trust, because some people, they are still a bit touchy about doing all this. No matter how beautiful say it's making our life to be, some people will not touch it because of the security aspect. So we need to look at that. So how can digital payment system build trust among users who are accustomed to cash transaction? Because that was what was responsible for initial reluctance
Yeah.
and why people get dependent on cash transaction. People will tell you in the market, seeing is believing. Let me see my money. So, how do you think digital payment can help build such trust?
Okay, so trust is built through education, transparency, and reliability. And speaking of reliability, a lot of people don't trust the digital system because they know it has probably failed them a couple of times or they've been burnt a couple of times, right? Someone makes a transfer, it did not get to them, it got refunded, and the user or the individual didn't inform the person that, oh, it was refunded back to me. So when we talk about reliability or even building trust in general, it has to start from the banking institutions. Can they put the necessary things in place and make sure they have the right, will I say, capacity to take on the pool of people that will be interested in coming digital? Because I'm very certain you see some of the banks saying, oh, our server was overwhelmed, our this crashed, this is why we're having this interruption, right? But those things need to be reduced or solved in such a way that I should be able to make a transfer here, and in 1 second the person I'm sending it to should receive it immediately. So if people see that over and over, and if they know that, okay, even when there's an issue, I don't have to go and queue for hours at the bank before that issue is resolved, right? Sometimes you can have a failed POS transaction, and they would not reverse the money until you go there, you complain, you talk for weeks, right? So if all of these issues are solved from first the banking institution, then I think once everybody knows that, okay, now it's reliable, we can use it. I think um trust can now be built on that. Oh, you are educate them and say, okay, it's reliable, it's safe, it's faster, it can help your business, it can provide you with this and this, right? Then people will start getting less and less skeptical. For instance, you mentioned the example of the market women. They love seeing their cash at and they know that, okay, no error is happening, right? So can the digital payment system be like that, have that speed, right? Or have that transparency that this cash system um, has, right? They know that, okay, there's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing like fake alerts, right? There's nothing like all of those things. So once they are aware of those things, I feel a lot more people would want to come on board.
Thank you very much. That leads me to the next question that asks about what measures are necessary to ensure the security and privacy of digital payment system, especially in economies vulnerable to fraud. Why I say this or ask this is because, yes, we are talking of the bank aspect. Even banks themselves, they are a bit apprehensive in some situation. You find a situation maybe like when the protest started, you just find that you are not able to make transfer. The nothing to do with internet, but it's like a precaution so that some people are not at work during this protest, so see how they can break into their system and scam them of money and things like that. That is one. And then with all these um, hackers going on, so what are the necessary measures that can be put in place to ensure security as well as privacy of digital payment system? You know the economy
Okay.
where we are.
Yes, yes. I think for so let me start from the banking industry. I think one major thing is the same way they are investing in maybe software developers or software engineers or financial accounting person, they need to invest in a cyber security person or set of people or team, right? I think it's just now most Nigeria companies are trying to incorporate or even think about hiring a cybersecurity expert. But it's actually very crucial to have someone like that. So that person can look through your entire system hand to hand and create mitigating measures. For instance, encryption. Okay, how can you encrypt your service in such a way that a third party cannot access it? Okay, multiple factor authentication. Okay, are there ways in which you can set up different authentication steps? So, for instance, if my phone gets stolen, no one should be able to access my bank account. So even if I don't block it, or even if I don't report it stolen, no one should actually be able to access my bank account or use my credit card if there are multiple factor authentication put in place, right? So our economy is actually vulnerable to fraud, right? So there's also a need to educate users, right? Even something as simple as WhatsApp chat. A lot of people still don't know how to protect their WhatsApp chat. A lot of people still don't know that, okay, if someone calls you and requests for OTP code, you shouldn't give those, um, provide them access to OTP code. A lot of people don't know that, okay, if someone calls you to ask for money, pretending that someone is injured, right? You should confirm from someone else before making that transaction, right? So education is also important, right? The first thing I mentioned is hiring the right set of people, that is cybersecurity experts, so they can look at things like encryption, multi-factor authentication. And the next thing I mentioned is educating the users, right? The general public. A lot of these market women, like mentioned as an example, is they don't want to come digital because they're afraid. They've heard a lot of stories, and yes, they're afraid of, okay, what if something happens? I no longer have access to my money. So what happens to my business or my sales, right? So all of these things need to be put in place.
Okay, well said. That is the side of the bank, and then companies and perhaps some high net worth individual. What do we say about government side? In that, how can regulatory framework support the safe adoption of digital payment system?
Okay. That's a good one. Yes, so it's important to know that if a lot of businesses go digital, it's going to help the government in different ways, because yes, they would have data in terms of, okay, what is an average SME making um monthly, or my 12 market, for instance, or eco market, for instance, how much is being made on a daily basis. So honestly, millions are being made in those markets, but nobody actually knows the exact figures because a lot of those things are done with cash, right? But if all of these things uh, are put in place, right, it's going to help the government in a lot of ways. So the government needs to incentivize businesses to adopt the digital payment method through maybe giving them some tax benefits. Or for instance, if you use a digital payment method, you get social subsidy on your tax, or you get social subsidy on maybe your signage, or maybe any levy or fee you're supposed to pay, right? Once those incentives are put in place, right, people might want to come to the digital payment systems, right? Also, we need to government need to put like policies that would give that will make people see the real benefits, right, of actually coming into the digital world or using digital payment method, and make sure that everybody has access to whatever digital service is crucial to them. So the government could also maybe build a portal, right, a one one of like system portal that like every business can also leverage on, because there's sometimes businesses might think of, okay, do I now need to go and build my own website? Oh, I don't have the resources to build my own website. Oh, I don't have the resources to maybe go and buy my own like ATM machine or something like that, right? So government should provide means of doing these things easily. Okay, if you want to access a POS machine, these are the steps you need to take, and it's simple to do so. So if all these things are done, I think more people would want to come into the digital payment system.
Thank you very much. We will go on a short break and we'll be right back. Please remain connected. Thank you. Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. Now, this is important in line with what we said before. How can digital payment system be tailored to meet the unique needs of businesses and consumers in cash-strapped economies?
Okay. Yes, so digital systems can actually be adapted or made user friendly based on maybe what your business is doing, right? Um, we can have solutions like offline payment systems, right? How can those things be put in place to help each business, right? Okay, even if I don't have the internet, can I still use digital payment systems? Right. So we need to build solutions in that regard. Then there's also that of localized languages, right? Can we build apps? Can we build systems whereby it's in my local language? Um, and I can fully understand everything I'm seeing there. For instance, if you maybe call the bank or you call their customer care, I think they first of all ask you, okay, what language do you want to hear this in? Right? I think it should be the same in all of our mobile apps. They should have that option. And also, if there's a way to simplify each interface, right, in such a way that, okay, if the only thing my business needs is just to receive transfer, to send money, and then to see my records, can that just be the only thing on the digital payment system that I see, right? Don't give me the whole thing. Just give me just what I need so that it doesn't get like so complex and people say, oh, I don't know how to do this or I don't know how to use this, right? So yes, just building there are ways to actually build like different systems just to be tailored to one's unique need.
So more or less is scalability. They should be able to scale it to, even though you have a robust system, but you can scale it down to different sizes of
Prices.
business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. We talked about the technology aspects and the government aspect. Now, the socio-economic implication of all this and how it affects small businesses. What are the potential social implication of transitioning to a predominantly digital payment system in a cash-strapped economy?
Yes. So one thing it can in one way it can implicate the social world is number one, it reduces a lot of informal economy. So like I was saying before, a lot of transactions or business transactions are silent because yes, there is no one tracking it. There's even no way of tracking it, right? So things like the shoemakers, the market women, the some tailors, some food vendors, right? So if there's a digital payment system, it can empower people to make better decisions in their different social areas, and it reduces the informal economy like I said, and also it can also bridge inequality. So for instance, oh, you are a market woman selling in the local market and I am one selling maybe on social media, or sometimes you feel, oh, I'm better than the market woman, whereas the market woman in the local market is actually making way more money than you are, right? So it can reduce any form of inequality if everybody comes to the digital model, and it creates some sort of, let's say, balance, right, in the economy.
So balance and ability to track. But I think that is more for the government. The businesswoman will not want to be tracked. But I think I think the area that is of concern on this question is what we experienced last year when this issue of currency change and things like that happened. And the implication is that the system is not good enough for us to really rely fully on the digital payment system, because that also failed us. At that same time, you are not able to get money from the bank.
Bank, yeah.
The POS were having problems. So I think it's in that light that the question is looking at it, that what are the social implications? Because at that time, yes, people who had money in the bank are, are feeling like a poor person at a stage, because you have money, you don't have access to money, and you still have your needs to be met. So those are the implications of, and that calls for a thorough search, both from the regulators and the operators in terms of fintech operators. It really requires a deeper thought. The experience that we all had last year, and in some cases, some are still having it, maybe not as pronounced as it was before. Yes, it's good to have a digital payment system, but that should really be supported with good banking system.
System.
Definitely should be supported with good. So we've touched on all the aspects, but from your own experience, what would you give as an advice to businesses that are transitioning to fully digital payment system, or those startups that are looking into going digital? What, in your own experience, would be the best advice to assist them?
Um, I think one thing I would tell them or I would say to them is embracing like digital system is not just about, oh, I want to follow the buzzword, I want to follow the trend, right? It's also about future proofing your business, right? So if you put these particular things in place right from the foundation, it helps you align your business needs and your customer preference. So once you understand, or once your customers understand that this is how they can easily make payment or access your service, I think they'll be more um, and they're properly educated, right? You would have some more loyal customers in that regard. And also, another advice I would say is yes, you want to go digital, but like we mentioned before, you need to prioritize security, right? And find ways to protect your business and also protect your customers. And even if there are issues or errors at any point, you need to um, try to resolve it with your customers. So you will see some supermarkets, for instance. Yes. So in as much as there was a POS transaction decline, a lot of them will just tell you like almost immediately, oh, go and meet your bank. Like there's nothing we can do about it. But there are ways or there are better ways of resolving things like that in terms of like giving a better customer experience. Yes, the issue is coming from the bank. Okay, how can you um help them understand, okay, these are the steps I need to take, right? In doing this. And I would say if you're putting in a digital payment system, make it as simple as possible. Like I said, if it's just um transfer credits and maybe the data you need, just stick to that alone and don't exaggerate the whole thing. If it's just the POS um machine you did in your stores, yes, just make that available. And also try to communicate with your customers that this payment method you have chosen helps them or benefits them as well before you now go fully into the digital payment systems.
Thank you very, very much, Dami. You have done us proud once again. Shared great insight into all the areas that we have raised concern today. Thank you for this knowledge sharing experience with our audience. And like I said before, this is not your first time on Connect with Comfort Show. We appreciate your continued interest and willingness to continue to share with others. Thank you. Hope in not too distant future you will accept request again. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So you really done justice to, I guess I've done justice to the topic at hand. Before I go to the wrap up session, I just want to quickly acknowledge those our usual online audience that participate in this with us. Taiwo Ojo, still in US, streaming from US. Thank you. Femi Daisimi from Lagos. Dr. Ebela Seyin from Abuja. Thank you. Wendy Garuba Ayeni, thank you very much for joining us today. I'll quickly go through the wrap up section just to uh, enable us to draw the point home. We've had the definition as introduction and the role of digital payments in the system. It's important for us to understand the different types of digital payments so that we'll be able to know which one is applicable to our business, which one is going to be more useful to our business. We have mobile banking, we have e-wallet, online banking, and cryptocurrencies are also there, but you have to get a good understanding before you use these ones. Then the technology behind the digital payments, we just have to have idea. We don't have to become expert on it before we can use it. Technology such as blockchain, fintech, innovations, and mobile network. There are other things that we look at as benefits of digital payment system, especially in our client where we have cash trap, where we have a cash trap economy. Number one, cost efficiency. It reduces transaction cost. You don't have to go to the bank like our guest said and waste useful hours in the bank queuing, both for customer and even the businesses. So it's cost efficient. It's also transparent. When you get your alert, you know the money has gone into your bank, and even it's less risky in that wise because gone are the days that people move transaction payments in what we call Ghana must go in big bag, big sack in the open broad daylight that can be tempting to fraudulent minds. So to that extent, it's not only transparent, it's also less risky. Convenience factor cannot be overemphasized. It's very quick and there's ease of access to funds, especially with these different models that are out there, transfer, POS, and all that. So it's very quick. Then it offers financial inclusion, either to those in the rural area that you have to travel miles to go to the nearest bank formation. That is no longer necessary. They have all these POS operators dotted around them, and they can also uh, participate in this digital payment system. So to that extent, offers financial inclusion. Economic growth, yes, from the various examples that we have given on the show today, we agree that it offers economic growth. Like the example I gave of the guy on the bicycle operating POS that enables the transaction to be concluded, started and concluded in a moving traffic. That transaction would not have happened, and because it happened, it's a business growth opportunity for that particular person that I purchased this thing from. So likewise for other ones too, it's because the ease, flexibility of transaction which facilitates more businesses to happen, and frequently it offers economic growth. Yes, these are good benefits that we want to enjoy, but we must also be mindful of the challenges and risks so that we don't lose our money, hard-earned money. We must also be circumspect to make sure that we don't lose our money. The infrastructure issues that we raised before, lack of reliable internet, mobile network in rural areas, and even in some parts of the city, that is also some challenges that we still face. Then security concerns, cyber security threats, and the need for robust data protection. Our guests have told us that we must necessarily factor this in as cost of operation to make sure that we protect assets and money. Regulatory audits, navigating the regulatory landscape to ensure compliance without stifling innovation is also a challenge that we need to look at. Then digital literacy, government needs to ensure more people get to know about this. They are educated on how to use digital payment system effectively, so that you don't have to be relying on somebody to, oh, please come and help me do this. In the process, they take all your relevant details to defraud you. So we need to have more education about digital literacy. More of this had to be done. Then we operate this with the mind that we choose the right method that is suitable for our system to encourage innovation and also the investment. So it's important for us to factor all this in. As we conclude this session today on harnessing digital payment system in a cash-strapped economy, it's clear that the digital payment landscape is not just convenient, but it's a lifeline in our current economic reality. We have explored the transformative power of these systems. Cash-strapped economy, every naira counts, and digital payment system offers the transparency, like we said, security and scalability that is needed to optimize our financial transactions. So by embracing these technologies, not only bridge the gap between financial service providers and the underserved, but also set the stage for a more inclusive, prosperous future. I hope you have enjoyed today's show. If so, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once again, uh, turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as at my Facebook at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us take the insights gained here today and apply them to our respective businesses with a renewed commitment to driving economic growth and financial stability with with harnessing digital payments system, even though in a cash-strapped economy. Once again, I appreciate all those of you that have joined. Till we come your way next time. Have a blessed week and thank you. Bye bye.